Okay, we're back. So this time we're going to talk about the new trends that are shaping the language industry. Okay, so this is coming straight from what is the most recent situation in the industry. So the very big trends. It's scale. Now, scale means how big something is and how easily we can duplicate it. Yeah. Growth. Our industry is growing. And with this growth comes a lot of necessary steps. And we need to be aware that the growth of the industry is going to create possibly a skill shortage or other issues that we need to address too. Supply chain consolidation. I will explain this because even in English it's difficult to know. And I'm sure then we will explain it in Chinese. A supply chain is all the different people or organization, businesses that are involved to do something, okay? So, for example, in our industry, the very beginning of our supply chain is the client. Then we have a language service provider, an LSP. That LSP then will outsource it possibly to a multi-vendor provider, somebody that belongs in a region and provides 2 or 3 languages. That multi-vendor provider then may outsource it to a single vendor provider, somebody in a country that provides one language. And that single vendor provider will then outsource it to a translator. Okay, so we see this is the supply chain. But then it's not finished because we have a reviewer. And then according to the workflow, we also have a tester possibly. And then it's going to go to create the terminology and the translation memories. And this could be different people. So all of this is the supply chain. Now, the term consolidation means that we make this supply chain smaller. So we consolidate 2 or 3 of these functions into one. So instead of having, 3 different language service providers of different sizes, we only have one. We consolidate the supply chain. Do you need to explain it further?
Maybe after you finish.
Okay, the slide. Another big trend we have in our industry is mergers and acquisitions. In the West, we have a lot of big companies buying the smaller companies. So they acquire these smaller companies in order to have their sales, in order to have their employees, and in order to gain the client list and the revenue. Okay? So that, or they merge 2 companies together to consolidate and have a bigger revenue. That is a very big trend in our industry. Finally, we have an automation. At the moment, we have, as I said many times, 531 tools, but we keep on growing and having more platforms and more automations, and we're finally addressing issues of integrating them one with the other, so one tool can speak to the other. That is not happening yet, but we're addressing the issue. So that's a big trend, trying to address this issue. So if somebody is working on Trados and somebody else is working on Deja Vu, they can take that translation memory and document and use it as if there wasn't a different tool. That's what integration means. And interoperability. Now that has not happened yet, but we're working on it. And the very last one I want to mention is something which I foresee personally to be a very big thing in the future. We all know about data analytics. Data analytics is when you take information from the website and you try to understand how the users are using the website. And this analysis is giving the financial people information of how to change and adapt the product. Well, what we have right now is a unified way of having data analytics because it's software and it has, numbers. But all this information is now coming from different countries. And now they are starting to analyze the languages as well. And at this point, the multilingual data analytics is going to become big because right now machine translation can facilitate analyzing multilingual data. Until now, we didn't have that ability, or the machine translation was not good enough for us to be able to have sustainable results. But as we're improving, certain language pairs are reaching the capacity that the data is correct, then we're going to start seeing multilingual data analytics becoming very, very important. So in my opinion, these are the trends that are characterizing our industry right now.
好，我简短的大家把这几个大概说一下。这个刚才讲呢，就是未来语言服务行业发展的几个大趋势。第一个 scale， 咱们在上节课就是上一个 session 里边他讲了一个单词叫 scalability， 大家还记得吗 ？What is scalability？ 中文回答一下。对，可扩展性。什么叫可扩展性？比如说我的公司现在每天我可以翻译10万字，突然来了100万的一个大单词，我能不能在1天之内完成？如果可以，说明我具备这个 scalability， 就是可扩展性。好，第二个不用说了。第三个，什么叫 supply chain consolidation 呢？咱们举一个小例子。之前呢，翻译、审校和 proofreading 这3个审读是分开的。举个例子，我在 A 公司进行翻译 ，B 公司进行 editing，C 公司进行 proofreading。现在呢，一个公司大趋势就是一个公司把所有的 TEP 全部都做完了，等于原来这个供应商的环节3个环节，现在合成在一个环节里边，这个叫 consolidation， 清楚吧？这个好。下边一个呢是 MA， 做口译的同学这是必备的单词之一，那就不说了。再往下一个，什么叫 automation？简单来讲，就是软件和机器能做的事情，不让人再去做了。比如说，作为一个项目经理，你需要给你的议员发邮件，每个人单独联系，微信啊、QQ 啊一大堆，是不是？现在我可以直接让机器来带你做这个事情。每当有新的任务的时候，它自动可以给议员发邮件，然后自动产生报价，然后自动接收这个文档。比如说咱们用的 mem source， 它就可以实现这个功能，这个也没有问题吧 ？automation。好，最后一个，什么是 multilingual data analytics？ 我给大家举个小例子。比如说，国外有很多预订的网站，像 Booking， 下边有很多用户的留言，这些留言呢，如果找人翻，量太大了，价格也太高了，我直接调用机器翻译。机器翻译之后呢，我可以从里边把所有的数据我做一个 data mining， 数据的一个挖掘，并且挖掘的话，你像 Booking 可以在全世界进行去订房子啊、订机票，所以下边语言可能会有100多种。然后怎么样呢？以后咱们可能会有一个叫多语种的数据挖掘或数据发掘的这么一个软件，这是跟咱们的 MT 是紧密联系的。这样可以理解吧？好，非常好，谢谢大家。
So what are the trends with the end clients? That's the people who create the budgets, and we are trying, to satisfy their demands. So globalization, as I mentioned to you before, is moving into the C-suite. That means they're going into the board of directors, they're going into the executive board, the table. This is very important because we've been trying for a very long time to elevate the status of our industry, and now it's happening. This is a big, big trend. Also, the big clients are asking for expanded skills. So they want now the localization, the project managers, and the globalization people and the linguists they employ. They want them to understand product management because this is what they do. They build products, so they need to understand. They also want them to understand product and feature development. So when you have WeChat and they add a new feature, they want the linguists to be able to understand what that means in the product life cycle, which we have been discussing this morning. And also they want their linguists and their people that they hire to have a better business and cultural intelligence, to understand and to become the advisors. So this is very important because they're asking us, in order to get employed in these big companies, we need to have expanded skills, not just our language. They also the new trend with the end clients is instead of employing more people, they actually make a contract. So they can get a linguist to come in for 6 months and to do a job that an employee would have done. If that contractor turns out to be a really good employee, then they will give them another contract or make them an employee. But this is a trend that we see very much in the US and in Europe, where when they are adding people to their team, they're not adding them as permanent employees. And the other one is that a lot of big or even medium end clients will go directly to translators now. They are surpassing the language service providers altogether because they're fed up with some of them. They're fed up with the price and all the extras that they don't need because they're not a big client. And the LSPs treat them like big clients, but they don't need all of that, so why should they pay for it? So there is a trend now that they go directly to translators. And of course, there is the automated workflows. I explained that to you earlier.
好，简单来说，第一个，什么是 C-suite？ C-suite， 太对了，那肯定是一个公司的管理层。举个例子来说啊，在国内大家还不是很清楚，比如说咱们最大的两个公司，像 Tencent 阿里巴巴，大家看一下他们海外的营收，其实占他们总营收的也就是10%不到。但是咱们民族企业的骄傲，华为呢，华为的企业的海外营收要占到整个企业营收的将近60%。这样的情况在海外，像谷歌呀、像 Jeannette啊，这样 Facebook 啊，同样的，他们大部分的营收在海外，所以呢，他们才会有刚才 J 讲的一个 VP， 专门负责海外业务的。所以，关于本地化的决定，直接就是在决策层，而不是原来某一个小部门来决定的。这是第一个。下一个呢，就是大家能力的一些提升。第二个，对我就不说了，就是咱们那个议员，除了议员之外，咱们职业主妇里边超过10几个。举个简单的例子，如果我不想做翻译，我喜欢跟客户打交道，你可以去做销售，你可以去做 marketing， 还有最关键的一个，你可以做一个 PM， 就是我来联络客户和议员，做 project manager， 就是说我们所需要的这个技能会越来越多。好，下一个 on-premise 就是 on-site， 什么意思？现在在广州，我已经注意到这个现象了，很多比如说非洲的企业，中国现在国际化基本上去的都是亚非拉的国家。咱们现在国情所限啊，基本上都是亚非拉的国家，而不是欧美这些比较发达的国家。我需要找一个议员，但是我只用半年，怎么办呢？我需要从翻译公司找一个，等于你是翻译公司的雇员，但是外派到某个国家，是这个，或者是外派到某个企业里边去。好，下一个讲的是中小型公司，我不愿意再通过 LSP 翻译公司了，我直接找 freelancer。或者找这个也不 in-house freelancer， 就是有这么一个趋势。最后一个就是咱们讲过的所有流程的自动化。
So the language service providers, what are the trends with them? So for them, the big thing is technology. Because the end clients have been all demanding more technology from them, and of course the LSPs don't have perhaps the kind of budgets that the end clients have, it's always been very difficult and they've always been running behind the clients to satisfy them. So now they're coming up with new technology, they have platforms, they have interpreted call centers, and of course they're trying to address the issue of interoperability, which I just mentioned, when one tool speaks to another. Another thing that is changing in the LSP scene is the pricing models. Some of them don't want to be charging their clients per word or per 1,000 words. They want to be charging per hour. So this is something which is a trend that we see. So some projects are very good to charge per hour, but some are not. So there is a trend now to try to move towards a per hour rate or a per project rate. Of course, there's a lot of machine translation and a lot of post-editing. So in the pricing models now, the LSPs are changing how they're charging the clients. So And then the last thing is they do have a lot of more services. So they offer testing. I mentioned earlier QA and LQA, so I'm going to say briefly the difference. QA is quality assurance, and QA can be done for anything. LQA is linguistic quality assurance. So it is how the product holds together linguistically. So after the product is localized, there is a linguist who does the LQA. And it's only when, let me backtrack. When a linguist does the initial translation, they don't do it on the product. Okay, so they don't have it in context. But after the review and after the localization and it goes into the product, then it's very important to see how the translation has come into the interface. Is it in the right place? So only a linguist can do a linguistic quality assurance. And we find a lot of bugs at this stage because the engineers who put everything in the fields don't necessarily know. And if it's automated, there could be also issues as well. So the LQA, linguistic quality assurance, is very important. And LSPs are offering that more and more. They themselves, the LSPs, are trying to do a little bit of research because they have found out that neural machine translation and artificial intelligence are elements that their clients want. And they're now following behind the clients, trying to figure out what is neural machine translation and how can we use it. Speech is a very big trend. A lot of translation companies want to be offering speech to text or text to speech. And video is very big, subtitling. Of course, we have a lot of requirements for video subtitling. Data, as I said to you previously, data analytics. Now the clients are asking the LSPs to provide them with data of the services they provide. So data on the languages is important. And the last one I want to talk about is the positioning. And this will take us into the next few slides. So the term positioning is a marketing term. So when you say a company's positioning is if you have the whole landscape of the industry, so let's say it is airlines, okay? And within all the airlines that exist, there are different positioning that each of these airlines have. They have a market share, and then each of them will say something. So for example, British Airways is known for for great safety. So the positioning of British Airways has managed to convey through their marketing the term safety in our minds. So that is the positioning of British Airways. Another airline, for example, Emirates, is positioning themselves as luxury. Okay? So you can see it throughout their marketing that concept is coming to you. So that is the positioning. Now, in our industry, the language service providers are positioning themselves within the industry in different ways. And we'll talk about it in the next few slides.
好，跟大家再简单说一下。第一个 technology 里边呢，它就讲一些 call service call centers。大家知道，如果你在国外的话，你给咱们的领事馆打电话，你知道哪里的人来接的电话吗？是当地的吗？比如在美国打电话，是他的 call center 在美国吗？完全不是。中国的领事馆基本上都是在北京，就是他们所有在北京设一个 call center， 你在海外任何一个国家打电话，其实就打不到中国。包括在美国也是，因为人力成本很高嘛。比如说银行做销售的时候，如果你的存款金额达到了5000美金以上，接你电话的说的非常地道的英语，然后如果你就存了500块钱，然后接你电话的基本上都是操着浓厚的那个印度口音的这个接线员，他们的 call center 是放在了印度或者是放在了泰国。下边那个 pricing model 呢，主要去讲一点，就是 per hour 和 per words。现在大家，我相信很多同学对于翻译报价你们还是不清楚的，是不是？如果报价的话，大家可能会按1000字。现在可能1000字150、200啊，但是如果我问大家一下，如果你给别人做一个带很多表格的很复杂， 然后里边的字呢就100-200字。如果你还按照字来报价的话，你觉得自己合适吗？肯定不合适，对吗？那么这个时候我们可以按字报价，变成 hourly rate， 按什么呀？小时报价，你就看你自己用了多长时间。这点在国外是比较常见的 hourly rate， 尤其是对于 DTP 处理或者 engineering， 就是工程助理。好，再往下有一个positioning 就不讲了，就是我的优势是什么？比如说我作为一个翻译公司，我的优势就是我的价格便宜，另外一个我的优势就是我专门做化学类的，专门做医疗类的，这就是 positioning。
Thank you. Yeah, but we'll go faster. Yeah. So, who knows SDL? Doesn't? Okay. So a few people know SDL. Okay, SDL, as you know, is a big company that has bought Trados. So one of the products that SDL does is Trados. Now, if you look at their homepage, when you first go to SDL on their website, they say we optimize the content supply chain. So this is how they position themselves. They are no longer a translation company. They are no longer a language service provider. They don't deal with language. What they deal with is content. Okay? Now, do you understand the difference between language provider and content? Okay? Now, a language provider has everything that we've been talking about. We are an add-on. We are being thought at the end. Now, SDL says, well, I don't want my company to be in an industry that is the last, link to the chain. I want to go 2 steps ahead. I want to be creating the content in different languages. So they're saying the same thing, slightly different. That's what positioning is.
这个时候讲什么呢？以前翻译公司就是你把文字给我，我来给你翻译。现在呢，我不是只是给你翻译文字。比如说，我想把产品卖到美国去 ，OK， 你就告诉我，我想卖到哪几个州，剩下的事情我来给你做，文案我给你写，然后营销我给你做。整个一个流程化的操作，这样子你就可以收取更多的价钱了，这是一个巨大的一个转变。大家想一下，如果单纯的做文字，你一天做3000字，1000字，比如说100块钱，一天才300块钱，公司的利润也是非常低的。所以呢，我作为一个整体内容的供应商，这是一个大的一个趋势。另外一个 SDL 就是大家比较熟悉的 Trados 的母公司，咱们用的 Trados 软件的一个母公司。
The next one I want to share is Lionbridge. Do you all know Lionbridge? Okay, so Lionbridge is one of these very, very big companies that has been going on for a very, very long time. It goes back to the 80s actually. It started from Xerox. I recently met one of the people that sold the Xerox to Baum, who then bought it by Lionbridge. So it was like a series of buyouts and mergers. Anyway, today Lionbridge is one of the biggest translation companies in the world. And when you look at their homepage, they recently changed it. Literally 2 or 3 months ago, they changed their entire website. And what they say now is that they're breaking the barriers and they're building bridges. So they are using a communication positioning. They are putting themselves like, you need to come to us because we break the language barriers and we bridge all the languages between them. So they're saying the same thing, but they're giving it communications. Again, communication is a marketing thing as well as SDL and content. Communication is part of marketing. So you can see how the big companies are changing the way that people perceive them by changing their positioning. And they're doing this for the benefit of our entire industry.
好，这2个我就不讲解了，我给大家提问一下。我问大家刚才讲的 SDL， 他们现在的定位是什么？他们是非常好。好，这个呢，Lionbridge 中文的译名是什么？大家知道吗？兰博，这不叫兰博智，他们最早在北京设立分公司，他们的定位是什么？对，他们做的是一个沟通的辅助者。
The next one I want to share with you is TransPerfect. Most of you will not know about this, but TransPerfect went through a very bad period of a good 3 to 4 years where the two owners of the company were in a legal battle. And one of them won. And during this time, TransPerfect was touch and go. We really thought that TransPerfect will exist no longer. Well, now that it is all finished, they revamped themselves, and recently they came up with a business positioning. What they say is, we know how. We know how to do things. That is a business positioning. So again, they're saying, we're not just a language company. We are telling you how to do things in different countries. Okay? This is a very clever way of elevating the status of their organization.
TransPerfect 这公司呢，在咱们中国好像应该是没有分支机构的。他们有一提到这个公司，大家想到就是跳八卦。为什么跳八卦呢？它是两口子夫妻店开始，然后从小做大，做大的时候呢，两人产生分歧了，然后闹离婚打官司，然后分这个公司的家产。所以因为这个事情闹得沸沸扬扬的，但是他们重新定义了一下，他们定义成是主要是做什么 business 这一块。
Oh, can we show the slide? The video. There is another positioning that came to my attention just literally about a month ago. I saw this on LinkedIn, and it really surprised me so much because I had never seen anybody in our industry use emotional positioning. So watch this and then tell me what you think.
Students or share their feeling
Mm-hmm.
after watching this video.
Yeah. So I don't know about you, I have goosebumps. So who wants to tell me what you feel after you watched this?
好，什么是 emotion 呢？
Yeah.
好，我们有个 volunteer, please， 给大家分享一下你看完之后什么感觉？
I feel lost. I don't think this is good marketing. I believe if you're in the food industry, the tasting is king. If you're in the language service industry, quality should be of primary importance. I won't get dandelion, that pushy stuff. I would want to ask a very burning question. Where is the beef? How can you ensure the quality of the transcription? So as a potential customer, I'm a little bit offended by this kind of marketing. It is supposed to touch the heartstrings of people, but it just gets fired.
It's a very valid point. Does anybody disagree with this? Does everybody agree with this? Okay. Let's have a debate.
I don't agree because for most of the potential customers, they're not the professionals in the industry. They're not translators. They're just the clients who want to find an agent or corporation or just a translator to finish their job. So if I saw this video, if I see this video, and I think the company is first I feel warm-hearted, and then it gives me the impression that the cooperation is friendly, very nice, maybe treat me not like client but a friend. So I think that is a not bad strategy, and it's outstanding among the similar kind of cooperation. That's my opinion.
Thank you for your views. Thank you, both of you. Now, do we have any third opinions, any third views, or any slightly different? What about the other room?
我觉得大家应该为另外一屋的同学们鼓鼓掌啊，他们沉默的一屋人，然后听了很多。好，大家还有没有别的声音？我觉得不管是正方还是反方，举个例子，同样也有很反方的例子，比如说大家特别讨厌那个广告，脑白金什么脑黄金，什么羊羊羊那种广告，他用的也是这样的策略，就是为了引起你的反感，或者是引起你的愉悦的感觉。这种叫咱们在中文有个词叫共情，是吧？啊，吸引你的感觉。
Okay, hold on, I need to go to this.
Let me help you.
Yeah, thanks. Down here? Oh, there. Okay, perfect.
Next.
Okay, so positioning is very important, and whether we agree with one positioning or the other, it doesn't matter. It's what the organization chooses to do. And the organization that created this emotional, the last one, the video, obviously had done some research and found that some of the clients would respond to that emotional positioning. That doesn't mean to say that this emotional positioning will enable every single client to respond. So as in this classroom we had two differing opinions, it is the same with people viewing this ad. But nonetheless, I wanted to show you 4 different types of translation companies positioning themselves completely differently. Whether it's right or wrong, it's not the issue. It's the issue of what they're doing in the trends.
下面他讲的呢就是freelance 或 freelancer。
Oh, I haven't done this yet. Sorry. Let's talk about freelancers now. So we covered all the language service providers. The freelancers have a very great diversification in front of them. Okay, so we are mostly linguists, but along with linguistic skills, we are now asked to include technical skills. And some of the technical skills may be simple to be a user of a tool, like a user of Trados, a user of Deja Vu, or any of these tools. But in order to be a user of these tools, you need to understand them. They are not easy. So you gotta, practice quite a bit and have a little bit some basic technical skills to understand them. But they're also wanting us now to get involved at the product development cycle. That means that we need to start speaking with engineers. We need to understand what they are doing or what's important for them. And this is where we don't need to be engineers, but we need to start understanding what the engineers' problems are, so when it comes to language, we can help them. So being a technolinguist is very important, and it's the future. However, you already saw how business is becoming and blooming, and globalization is based on business principles. So not being able to understand business, not being able to crunch figures, do figure analytics, financials, data, is also going to be a problem in the future. Because we need to be able, not only if we're freelancers, to promote our services in the right way, but to be aligned with our clients. So if our client says, I want ABC, and it's business related, we understand what that ABC is. Okay?
好，我做一小调查，咱们有多少同学喜欢每天朝9晚5的上班，1年只有3天的年假？又有多少同学喜欢每天我睡到自然醒，然后端着一杯咖啡，自由自在的在家里边做点翻译，做一个 freelancer？肯定后者更多一些，是不是？好，告诉大家， 这个不是梦，并且在美国这是一个现实。美国很少有，咱们说全职的艺员，他们用的一个词，大家知道什么吗？英文的，对，叫 in-house。in-house 因为太贵了，你得交保险啊，交税，各种各样的。大部分人都是 freelancer， 所以这是未来的一个趋势。freelancer 的趋势是什么呢？他们叫艺员，大部分情况下叫 linguists。咱们通常第一反应就翻译成叫语言学家，是吧？其实 linguists 就是他们说的对译员 translator 或 interpreter。然后未来的一个趋势是，你是通晓技术的一个语言学家，或者是一个译员，通晓技术的。就是说，你不仅知道技术，知道语言，并且知道关于商务的一些东西。比如说有客户来找你了，你可以直接给他报价，然后你自己可以处理文档，就是这是一个很大的一个趋势。
So a lot of freelancers find it very difficult when they don't have all these skills and they end up diversifying, meaning they divert from their path. They take a slightly different path. And Prozcom, who knows Prozcom? Proz. Do you know Prozcom? It is a marketplace for freelance translators, which is extremely popular in North America and Europe. And it has a vast number of translators, and I do believe there's a lot of Chinese translators as well. So look it up, Proz.com, Proz.com. And it's a free marketplace for translators, but it's a platform, so they do have a lot of the services that you have to pay for. And they did a survey, and during this survey, they asked, have you considered or are you considering changing your profession? This was done last year. And you can see that 45% are saying, no, I like being a freelancer, I don't want to. But 20%, now that is a very big percent, are saying, no, I'm changing, or I'm thinking about it, I don't like this is not working for me. Now the reason I'm putting this slide here is because a lot of these people that are moving out because they have not managed to do the technology and the business. When you have that, then you're all set for a really, really good a professional career.
好，我再讲到呢，就是刚才提到两个网站，第一个是 Prozcom。其实你们现在如果觉得自己 ready 了，就可以去注册到 Prozcom， 或者还有一个网站叫 ATA，American Translators Association， 美国翻译协会。美国翻译协会可能是收会员费的，一年是$100多，好像是。大家知道，在美国跟中国不一样，在美国的口译价格没有在中国的口译价格高。就是比如说我们雷高帆的顶级的教授，他们一天的报价也就是$1000，通传$1000，合人民币大概7000块钱，对吧？在中国顶尖的译员一天报价可能是15000。雷高帆的那个口译老师基本上全部都是8亿的会员，在中国一共是20多个8亿。咱们原来的詹成老师，广外的，现在调到中山大学了，他们的报价一般就是15000一天，并且我坐飞机去的这半天也要支付给我7500块钱，路程也是算钱的。好，另外不一样的就是笔译，在中国笔译价格，大家能拿到签字150已经是很可观了，对吧？碰上某一个比较大号的可能会给200、300，在美国每一个字是0.21美分平均，然后中文的平均是0.15美金左右，大家算一算，一个字0.15美分，那么多少人民币？一个字和1块多钱，对吧？跟香港、澳门的价格是差不多的，1000字1000，或者是1000出头这个价格。所以呢，你们 ready 的话，可以去这2个网站上注册，然后呢，把自己简历写好，可能会有人去联系你们。这是一个关于职业的多样性，大家看一下这个表格就可以了。
So the ones that left at Proz.com asked, well, why did you leave? And the biggest one was rates. They left because there was a lot of pressure on the rates. And the second biggest reason was that there was an expanded skill set that was required from the clients. Okay? So we already covered it. The clients want more skills from us. And we see how translators Some of them have reacted negatively and lost because they didn't have those skills. So we want to avoid this for all of you. So we want to start now, early, while you're still students, to increase your technical skills and start having an understanding of the business requirements of globalization.
很多议员在美国离开原因是因为觉得费率太低了，这样一对比，咱们中国的议员，所以大家为什么理解学语言专业的最后100个人里边，我估计能有10个人做翻译就不错了。大家大部分去做了英语的教学，新东方啊，什么中小学1对1啊，大部分都是你可以看一下啊，因为我在中国也教了很多年的那个学生，你看一下你们同班同学，甚至是翻译专业，南开大学 MTI 专业的，包括你们学校有多少人真正做翻译的 MTI 毕业之后，只是很小的一部分。我出去做家教1小时100块钱，我1小时我可以翻译多少次，尤其汉英的时候，对吗？这是很大的一个原因。
So what are these business skills? There's quite a lot of them. So let's start with marketing. As freelancers, here's are some suggestions. You register with online databases. You do have them here, online databases in China.
Some similar.
Yes. So it's very important to register. It's very important to register with associations. It's good for networking, and it's also very good for picking up information and helping your career and finding mentors. Also, it's very important to have a very good professional social media profile. And a lot of times, if you're too cute, that can be determined for your professional image. So you have to be careful, because whatever you do in social media stays there forever. Also, you have to create your own website. You have to show that when you say you have technical skills, show them a website. Show them your website.
这个简单，就是说大家要学会，作为自由职业语言，咱们过去说酒香不怕巷子深，但现在呢根本不可能，信息爆炸式的，谁知道你是谁呀，对吗？然后呢，你要善于用网络的方式给自己树立一些品牌。常见的就是，比如说第一个，在一些行业第一个里边，刚才讲过的2个 database 就是所谓的译源库，在国内有一个叫5摇找翻译，大家可能听说过吧？5摇 trans。好，下一个呢就是要善于利用这个社交网络，在国外大家用的最多的是领英，有多少同学现在有领英的账号？领英的账号很少一部分啊。领英是他们进行社交的一个职业社交的一个最大的一个平台。另外一个呢，可以建立自己的网站。周四我会教大家怎么样建立自己的网站。
So what can universities do? Universities can start having an interdisciplinary curriculum. You know what interdisciplinary means. That means when you start doing a bit of business courses, a little bit of technical courses, something that belongs to a different school or college. When you do a little bit of medicine as part of your specialization, perhaps, that's what interdisciplinary curriculum means. And I know that you do a lot already. Industry specializations, maybe we can start having minors, not just majors, and make that a specialization, or make it a technical, or make it a business minor. Global exchange programs. A lot of universities are very eager to do exchange programs. So we will be trying to do exchange programs with European universities and North American. Internships. It's important for universities to start building some relationships with all the big client-side people and have interns go every summer, every break, even if it's for 1 week or for 1 month, because on-the-job training is the best way of training. Expert visiting lecturers. I hope I'm teaching you something today. Case studies with industry. Have an industry professional come into the classroom and work on a specific case and share the information from that case. So all of these are things that institutions in the West are starting to do now. And then the students, what can the students do? So there are multiple career paths. And we tend to think that the only way forward is only linguists, but there are many. We can be client-side, we can be linguists, we can be a terminologist. we can be a tester, we can be many, many things within our industry because our industry is expanding rapidly. We can be a transcreator, a copywriter. There's so many little things that we can diversify. Finally, we can start researching future employers. We don't need to wait until after we graduated to research where we want to go and work or what type of work we want to do. We want to do that while we're still students. And we can network at events. You do have the WITA test here events, and hopefully the salons are going to be becoming more regular and more of them, so you should be able to start networking there. Competitive edge. You need to find for yourselves what it is that you do best and what you're happy doing, because when you're happy doing something, you're going to be good at it. So try to find where your competitive edge is, as opposed to the rest of your classmates, and in conjunction with your career path. And the numbers count. I keep on saying that for everything in life. Numbers count always. So what are the data on jobs available? Start doing some research. Look at the jobs that are being advertised. What is the language that they are using? What are the things that they're asking the employees to? If you do research on the current jobs, you may find out that they want specific skills that you need to start acquiring. And you don't need to take a class to acquire that. You can volunteer, or you can do your own thing. You can innovate. So always look at the information on the job boards and also on the employers. So for example, there could be information on an employer that wants to globalize. Well, if that employer wants to globalize, they will need people like you. So this could be part of your career path plan. So these are all things you can do while you're still students.
好，左侧的呢我就讲一个，然后剩下的我准备拍个照片发给大家的院长们，不是大家看的。第一个 minors， 大家知道 minors 是什么学位吗？在咱们国内叫，对，你的2学位，在本科阶段的2学位，他们叫 minors。好，右侧里边呢，我给大家提几点。第一个呢就是叫 networking， 在国内这一点大家可能咱们可以直接交流的这些平台，包括是会议也比较少，但是尽量有可能的就是以后我想做什么事情。我尽量的跟这个行业的人多接触，比如说参加会议啊，参加活动啊，这是一个很关键的一个。另外一个，你的 competitive edge， 什么是 competitive edge？ 比如说我就是长得漂亮，我就是长得帅，客户一看见我立马想要我，然后这是你的一个 competitive edge， 对吗？或者我的口语就是非常好，或者我翻译做的就是非常好，这是你的一个，或者我比如说做金融做的非常好，这就是你的一个 competitive edge。好，其他没有。
So let's say that you're starting to look now to what you want to do. Okay, your first choice is to think, do you want to be an employee of a big corporation and be on the client side? Or do you want to be self-employed? So if you decide that you want to be an employee, you don't have to have a headache about a lot of the things that a freelancer has to cater for themselves, right? So as an employee, do you want to go there as a short term or for the long term? Do you want to go for a couple of years and then become a freelancer? That's an option. Or do you just want to be an employee? It's a matter of personality, and you need to find out what your personality is best at. And then again, you want to be on the client side, or do you want to be on the vendor side? How many jobs are on the client side? How many jobs are on the vendor side? There are many jobs usually on the vendor side as opposed to the client side. So maybe you can skip the attempt to go to the client side if you just say, I want to be an employee on the vendor side, that's all I want to do. So all of these are decisions you can make to help you. You can, if you're very technically oriented, you may want to be part of the automation providers. But if you want to be a linguist, self-employed freelancer, then you need to start thinking of how you're going to build up your practice, your profession, your clients. So at the entry level, you may find yourself that you need to acquire more experience. So instead of saying, I'm going to be a freelance translator, say, I'm going to start as a freelance proofreader. Or I'm going to start as a freelance quality assurance tester because I know that they don't need extensive skills for that, which I don't have yet. And while I'm proofreading for a couple of years, I'm going to build up myself and my knowledge to become a really good translator in that specialization that I am proofreading now for. So that is a way of going in. And while you're proofreading, you will find the right specialization, because as a proofreader, they're going to give you many different things. And of all the things they're going to give you, there's going to be some that you really love, or some that you really enjoy doing, or you're really good at. Well, these are indications of where you should start specializing. And especially if you find out that while you're being given proofreading assignments, 50% of them are medical. Well, that means there's a lot of demand for medical. So why not specialize in that? So go where the demand is always. And finally, you have to start building up your business skills. Nobody becomes a business person from one day to the other. And don't believe anybody who says that they were always a great business person, it was in their genes. That is not true at all. Every single business person has made many mistakes. It's through the mistakes that business people learn. So give yourself time to acquire those business skills. Hopefully not with too many mistakes or not too serious mistakes.
这个 PPT 呢，大致讲就是说，大家以后你大致的职业方向是什么，你可以选择一下。有一点呢是 client side 和 vendor side， 如果翻译成中文应该是什么？大家告诉我。对，什么是甲方和乙方？对，客户方。乙方一般是什么是乙方？翻译公司，对吗？翻译公司从甲方拿活儿，然后再雇你去做，还是你直接就在甲方工作？这是一个选择。比如说我直接去腾讯工作，还是去某某翻译公司，是腾讯的供应商，去那个地方工作，两个都有各自的这个优缺点，你自己要想好的。还有一个这一讲的我特别认同，你自己在通过刚开始初级阶段的工作当中呢，会发现自己的兴趣，或者发现哪一行的需求比较多。另外一个呢，在美国我们挑选简历的时候，如果某个议员说我精通，大家一看下边行业一数100多个行业，那第一时间 pass。对，精通的行业如果能有3个或者5个就已经足够多了，对吗？好，那只能说它是一个套式。他说我精通100多个行业的翻译，我翻译了什么500多万字。大家看一看啊，我在中国做项目经理的时候，我会被，我觉得咱们中国的议员做的简历有点特别像是现在有些小女孩会过度的 PS 自己一样。等你见到真人的时候，你会发现大大的失望。这是我看到那个朋友圈里边那个人吗？简历同样是一样的。有的议员为了拉到活儿，简历竟然写了60多页，然后把别人的会议全部 copy 过来，做了60多页的一个简历，所以很多都是不太可能的。
So when you plan for jobs, you have a plan of action. Okay, so you want to apply, and the first thing you need to do is get yourself a spreadsheet. And in that spreadsheet, put all the information you want. Because once you research something and you find it on the internet, next time you go there, you're not going to find it. So while you're at it, make a note of it. And make a note of the URL, so you can go back to it. Make a note of the company information. It's important to research it properly. Where are they located? Where do they have offices? Section for resume sent and contact information. When did you send your resume? Which resume did you send? You may have different resumes for a QA tester or for a translator. So you gotta make a note so you don't forget. And put the date on. When did you send it? If you don't receive a response within a month or two, well, you can forget about it. But you can send them another resume, or you can follow up. But at least you'll have the information so you know when to follow up. Then you can have a section for recruiter information. Most of these big companies have a recruiter that they work with. And this information, you come across it in the job boards. So when you do come across an information like that, go and put it down on your spreadsheet, because that's a contact that you want to have there ready. And then make sure you record all your communications and your follow-ups, because a lot of these big companies, they have an automated way of receiving the resumes. And sometimes, you know, things go wrong, or they don't have the fully automated response system. But you want to find a way that if you don't get a response, that you find a way of differentiating yourself. So maybe a follow-up call, or maybe something through social media that will get you to the notice of the person, the recruiter. So do your research.
这个环节我给大家推荐3个软件，我们经常用的。第一个叫 Trello， 大家听过吗？就是在线的，它一块一块的小模板，可以看一下网站上 TRELLO Trello.com。还有一个网站是 Monday， 就是星期一 Monday.com。还有一个用来计时的叫 Top Tracker， 这是我们在做这项规划的时候用的最多的，在美国。
So in continuing your research, it's all online. You add all the information to your sheet, and then you work with social media. Social media is very, very important. You can find clients there. You can find who is the recruiting agency of a client. You can find in LinkedIn the groups and job postings. I searched Chinese job postings for globalization for China, and so many came up. Maybe not so much on globalization, but positions for Chinese companies. Then you have the LinkedIn people's titles and responsibilities. So you can search with globalization director and China, and it'll give you all the people who have that title in China. You can search with responsibilities. There are many things you can find out through LinkedIn, which is a very good professional platform. I don't know if you have access to Glassdoor here.
I don't know.
Probably not, yes, but you may have equivalent. Glassdoor is a company which has employees anonymously give information about the employer, about their salary, about the good things with this employer or the bad things. So there must be something equivalent possibly here. The other thing is use your alumni, your university alumni group. There are people that have gone from this university to good positions that they always need more people for their team. That is possibly a way in. And finally, check out the complaints in the group discussions. Usually there are a lot of complaints for language service providers who are not good payers. Well, make a note of them so you don't work for them.
好，我给大家介绍一下这个 Glassdoor 这个公司，我不知道在中国有没有对应的公司啊？它是什么呢？我输入某一个职业，它会告诉你，好，这平均的月薪或者年薪是多少钱，以及输入某个公司之后呢，会有在这个地方工作过的员工给了一些点评。你看在这个地方薪资怎么样啊，环境怎么样啊？就 Glassdoor， 咱们国内有这样的网站吗？职联招聘，我看准啊，看准有类似 ，we have similar。
Yeah. Okay. So when you're researching companies and you're looking at their website, there are certain things that you read immediately, and some other things that you need to start investigating. So, for example, we did that with the positioning of companies. You know, it's not so much what they say, it's what they want us to think, right? But also, if you look at a website carefully enough, you will see the culture of the company and the reputation of the company. There are always signs that will make you say, oh, this is a culture that I like. I would like to be part of this company, or not. A lot of the times it's great if you can contact their HR department, the human resources department. Sometimes they don't answer the phone. I don't know, so different companies do different things. So the big companies, it's impossible to get through to them. But maybe the smaller companies, you can pick up the phone and say, can I speak to the human resources person? And that way you get something, you get a connection. You can be remembered by this person. You say, look, I'm looking for a job. Can I send you my resume? Give me your email. Locations and openings. It's very important to find out in the websites where are the locations and where are the openings. So for example, if a company has 10 locations around the world or 10 locations around China, but only one of them has openings, there's no point in applying if you don't intend to live in that city, right? So, these are all things you can research and make your decisions so you don't waste time. And then there are career sites, and you need to register with them. You need to create alerts where, you say, every time a job with this title comes on, I want you to send me a notification. And finally, you have to keep on recording your credentials and keeping your resume up to date. As the weeks pass, you learn more things and you have more things to add to your resume. So keep on adding these things. If it's a project you've done in class, don't forget it. Add it to your resume today, because when you go to do it in a month's time or in a year's time when you're ready and graduated, you'll forget about it, that specific project. But if you add it today, that's fresh in your mind, then when you do your final resume, you can reword it in such a way as to be appealing to the future employers.
好，做一个小调查。现在如果我要向大家要你们简历的话，有多少同学或者老师可以把简历现在就给我呢？简历。好，我是看到了，就为数不多的几位同学或者老师。好，有多少同学你会定期，比如说2周、3周或者2、3个月更新一下你自己简历的？好，现在就剩1位同学举手了啊。2位、2、3位同学，不是很多啊。大家要养成一个习惯，哪怕你现在是学生，要时刻把你的简历准备好，中英文的简历。每隔，比如说你要自己活动少的话，2个月、3个月准备一份，就时刻准备好。有工作机会，我直接把简历就发过去了。
So when you're a freelancer, if you decide that you want to go directly to clients, there are quite a lot of things you need to do. So why would a client come to you as a freelancer and not to somebody else? Well, you have to have a very strong portfolio. You have to have the ability to show them that you have done similar work for similar clients and that you've had a very positive response. If you can get a testimonial from your client and put it on your website, that is the way to create your portfolio, or a strong way. You need to be able to give value to your prospective clients. So always be aware, what do they want that you can give? You need to do a bit of marketing for yourself. Why are you different from other freelancers? What are your competitive edge? And finally, you need to be a little bit more active in social media on the professional side. So people can start seeing you professionally, that you're involved in networking. If you go to a networking event, take a picture, post it, and show people that you're part of a bigger group. There are legal considerations. You need to be aware of what your legal obligations are as a freelancer towards your clients. You have that involves confidentiality and many other things, which I'm sure you cover in class. You need to be aware of accounting. You cannot just spend money to set yourself up as a freelancer without having a budget. So you set a budget up and you spend accordingly, and then you try to make sure that you have return on your investment, on your spending. Professional indemnity insurance, we covered it previously. If it's something which is relevant to you, it is through associations that you can be helped. And of course, being part of associations is very, very important.
好，这个呢讲那个自由职业员应该注意一些事项，包括大家也是，以后要是做这个自由职业的话呢，首先把 你自己的权责讲清楚，多少钱，然后我负担什么样的责任，如果不满意返稿会有什么样的一个说法，提前把这些话讲清楚。如果可以的话，给他们可以签一份兼职的协议，对你们双方都是一个保障。另外还有一个呢，目前国内还没有，在国外有专门针对翻译的保险，就是如果因为我翻的不准确或者翻坏了，造成损失，那么我不可能几百万我都赔给你，对吧？比如说之前有翻译把乌鲁木齐翻成了鸟鲁木齐，多了一个点儿，印了100万、500万的这包装袋，下边都是鸟鲁木齐怎么样，所以这样子是没法，客户是没法使用的。一个极端的例子，在中国没有这样的保险，但是提前讲清楚，现在目前咱们通行的做法就是，如果我犯什么错误了，我给的最多赔偿就是这次我所有的翻译费不要了，这是最大的一个赔偿。可以跟这翻译公司或者是你的客户提前讲清楚。
So when you target LSPs, language service providers, make sure that you research their reputation. Do they pay? Are there complaints out there? It's very important. Avoid the ones that there are complaints that they don't pay. Then research the online groups to identify scammers. There are some people who are not who they say they are. They try to get you to translate something and then they never pay you. So there are ways of knowing that something is not right or fishy. Send your resume, as many as you can. Prepare to send lots of them. And follow up selectively. Don't waste your time following up every single resume. Go for the ones that are important. And finally, there are different ways of applying. You can apply on their online website, or you can send a resume in the mail, or you can connect with somebody in social media. There are many ways, so do all of them.
好，什么是 scammer？ 骗子，对吧？好，根据我的经验，如果翻译公司好多翻译公司打着释义的名义让你去做，我觉得凡是释义超过1000字的都是耍流氓，超过1000字的都是耍流氓。有的翻译公司让你释义先把这5000字帮我释义一下，我看看怎么样。对，我觉得大家能接受的释义最多也就是300-500字，300-500字完全足够可以看出来你的水平了。
Online platforms and mentoring programs. Check them out, see if there are any mentoring programs or if you can get a mentor. Establish some relationships with people you know or alumni. It doesn't have to be something formal, it can be just informal, somebody you know. Volunteer as much as you can so you can build up your portfolio. And don't ever forget to have always a budget and to control your expenses. Before you know it, it can get out of hand.
这里边讲一个叫 mentor， Jeannette 是我在美国的 mentor， 我跟着她学了很多东西。Like you are my mentor during my stay in the States。mentor 这一点在国内呢现在比较少，但是对于咱们这个职业，不管是口译还是笔译，如果有你之前的学长或者学姐带着你，或者有特别好的这个师傅带你做个1年2年，你立马可以出来，完全一点问题都没有。其实，咱们做翻译是要比教小孩儿什么那个 VIP Kid 什么的，比教英语要好多。你想想，你如果20岁你教26字母 A B C D E F G， 你到40岁的时候，你还愿意再去教 A B C D E F G， 每天重复这样子吗？肯定不愿意，对不对？如果做翻译，不管笔译还是口译，你接触的基本上都是这个行业里边最新的、最前沿的东西。这点还是比较诱人的，因为你的脑子里边一直在有新的东西进去，变相的做了一个广告。
And good luck with everything.